Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Loan Officer Experience podcast, where we break down the boring mortgage stuff, right? That nobody wants to talk about. And we get into like real stories that move our industry forward. And today I've got the privilege, and we're going to be talking to someone who's a big advocate for brokers, helping them push forward in the wholesale space. Delfino Aguilar, Senior Vice President. You're really more than that, Delfino. You are the Chief Production Officer, right, for Kind Lending. And today, man, we just, well, first, let me introduce you, Del. Thanks for
Yeah.
being here.
Thank you for
Awesome to see
having
you.
me. I'm excited. I'm excited. A long time coming for this. And I'm really excited to spend time with you, man. I love what you're doing. I love the voice that you have, the message you have, and everything you're doing. So it's a privilege. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Well, let's just jump right into the conversation.
Yeah.
So important. Um, and, we're going to dig in, beyond the rates and the guidelines. We want to figure out what Kind Lending is all about. Like, I'm very interested in them. We've had conversations before, and I just want you to share a lot of the things that some mortgage brokers out there that haven't worked with Kind Lending need to know.
Yeah.
And, all the amazing things that you guys are doing to help brokers win. And what,
Right.
and maybe you can share some leadership lessons with us as well. But we'll just jump in, man. We'll kind of get this party started. Um, Share with me, I think this is important. Like, no one ever asked these questions. Like, how did you get in the mortgage space? Like, how did you start into the
Yeah.
mortgage world?
That's a great question. You're right. Sometimes people don't ask, so I appreciate that. It's such a fun industry, and getting to know so many great people. And for me, it was an accident. I'll be honest with you, how I landed into this. And we were talking about this before this podcast here, but Wells Fargo back in 2001 had a job there, right? And I was coming out of college, and it was in Carlsbad. I lived in San Diego, probably 45 minutes north of San Diego. And I already had a job. I had a job with Chase, offer, going to start on Monday. And I just happened to get a call from a recruiter from Wells. And he's like, hey, saw your resume, saw these things that you did at Ford Credit. Do you want to come over and learn about mortgages? I'm like, mortgages? Like 2001, it was actually HELOCs at the time. And I was like, okay, I'll go. Right. And it was just from at San Diego State, where I graduated from. They got my resume on some job fair they had. I'm like, all right, I'll go. I had my little sister now, which, by the way, my little sister is great in the industry as well too. And she's in the car while I go up there. She's sleeping in the car. She was a freshman in high school, I think. And I walk in. This place had like 500 people lined up, right? Like I was like,
Mhm.
well, I'm one of the 500 lined up in Carlsbad, this beautiful building. And I'm sitting there in line, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to wait in line. Like, I want to go, I'm like 20 years old. I'm like, I want to go party. There's a party downtown San Diego. I want to go to it. Why am I doing here on Friday? I'm going to be late, all these things. So I finally decide, you know what? This is too long after waiting an hour and a half. And I start walking outside. As I walk outside, this is no joke. I push the door and I run into the recruiter. And he's like, his name is Peter. And he's like, hey, Del, I had my name Delfino. And he's like, you're leaving already? You interviewed? And I'm like, man, this is too long. I don't want to do this. I'm late. I'm leaving. And he's like, give me 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, I interviewed within those 5 minutes, I interviewed with 10 people lined up, right, to talk to me. I went boom, boom, boom. With 3 hours, I was there, and they offered the job on the spot. I was leaving, and the person that hit the door was Peter. So by accident, I want to say that it was a miracle that I'm in this seat talking to you, because somebody's put this man there, right? Divine intervention to get me to stay here. So to join this industry. And that's where I started. I was with Wells Fargo, home equity line. I learned it there, started a registration, managed that group, processing, learned the underwriting piece. And then from there on, learned a lot about the business, and ended up at Stearns, where I met with Glenn and Mindy and Yvonne, the whole
Yeah.
group that were here too. And the rest is history, So I've been really blessed, man. It's just that, getting that door stopped by Peter, I'll never forget it.
That's crazy.
Be part of it. So who knows? I could have been in cars right now.
Man, what man, it's an amazing story.
Yeah.
That's
Nobody
really
knows that
cool.
story.
Like,
Not a lot of people know that story, by the way.
yeah, well, now we know, man. It's like, gosh dang, where would you
Yeah.
be without, is it,
I
right?
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I live in San Diego, right? And my family owns my cousins who do a fabulous job with it, by the way. They own a company that my father started with his two brothers, Aztec Landscaping, and they run it now. It has like over 1,000 employees here in San Diego.
Oh,
So
wow.
if I picture
Yeah.
myself probably in that world, probably if I'm not doing this, right?
Right.
But they're doing a fabulous job over there. But I'm very blessed to be in this industry, to learn,
Yeah.
get to know people like you. I've been very blessed, man, and very happy. You know.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And
Yeah.
that goes the same for us, man. I've always heard great things about you, Delfino. And I mean that, I'm not saying that to blow smoke up your backside, but
Yeah.
for real, man, that people
Yeah.
are like, oh man, I love Delfino. I'm like, man, I don't really know the guy. I want to kind of get to know him, and I
Yeah.
feel like you and I hit it off the first time we ever met. Like we were
We
like, shoots.
did.
You were like, dude, you're a straight shooter. I'm like, yeah, man, so are you. It's just
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
fun.
Well, I think it's
A lot of fun.
important, because like in
Yeah.
this business, quite frankly, is all we have is our word and our reputation. Like
Mhm.
what you build, the relationships we build. I to get to here, I have a different path. Like growing up, my father was like in a car accident, right? He passed away. We were all in the car,
Yeah.
and so my mom was in it. All of us. We lost my aunt and my dad at the same time. And I think I have like everybody has a fork in the road, and a tragedy like that fork
Trauma.
makes who they are, right?
Yep.
In school, that was my fork in the road. That was my, that changed our life. And I've always taken that to trying to value kind of every relationship that you have, like to go deeper, not just be like, superficial, like we really have to connect for them to trust into. And this is like a long-term piece. This is not like a short-term piece of the business, right? The relationship has been the focus of that. And I look at that because of, what happened to me when I was younger and how we grew up, my mom, people right and all that. And that has been the cornerstone of how I am as a person, as a leader, and the people I like to surround myself with the same values, man. So
Yeah.
I
That's
think that's
awesome.
really important. I think it's really
Yeah.
important.
I agree. And man, I just couldn't agree more. And I appreciate you sharing that because I think that's
Yeah.
important for all of us to hear when
Yeah.
it comes to relationships, because this industry is hard. It's not
Yes, sir.
always easy. And what I always like to try to mention to other originators, especially the
Yeah.
youngsters or the ones that are newer into the industry, kind of coming up in their careers, you get so much more when you're kind to people.
Yes.
No, you just
Yeah.
are, and I know that kind of played into your name,
Yeah.
and we can kind of jump in and I'd love to hear more about Kind Mortgage. I know you guys have been really moving and shaking, and there's
Yeah.
different parts of, things that you guys have going on. Just share with me, like, what would you want to share the most? What's the most important part about leading Kind Lending in the way that you are? Like, what's your favorite part about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good things happening here, and we're surrounded. I think, I don't think I know by what I feel is the best in class when it comes to people. All right, and in this business, you need to have tech, you need to have pricing, you need to have ops. Right, those are the three things that are just like the foundations of a company. You need to get that just to go and ask you for business. What I really enjoy and love about being a servant leader, because that's where we are. I was just talking to Yvonne, our president, literally before this, about how we all are rolling up our sleeves as we continue to grow. We're heavily involved in the company. And so when you ask me like my favorite piece is the people here at Kind. It really does separate us. You need those three things, right? Tech, you need ops, you need pricing, some sort of combination of that to earn your business every single day. But really what separates is going to be a theme of what I talk about a lot, what Glenn and Mindy speak about a lot is our people, because that's the best part. The vibe you get, the energy you get, the camaraderie, everybody's rowing in the same direction, the grit that comes from sticking together when times are tough and really cheering each other on. That's what I love so much about Kind. It truly is. And I'm genuine about this. And anybody that can come here will tell you that, right? And we all really try to stick together and continue to row in the same direction. And that's the best piece. And I'll share a quick story with you if I can.
Yeah,
My
let's hear it.
the other day, my oldest daughter came to the office, right? And she has never been to the office in 5 years that I've worked at Kind. It's in Santa Ana. And I highly urge everybody to come by our office. We love having people in our office. And she came with my younger son, Delfino. And he's been in the office a couple times for various reasons, because we're up there a lot for baseball. And she walked around and she left. The best text I've received is like, Dad, you can feel the Kind vibe. And that's from someone like a 19-year-old coming to the office and just sharing the energy that's in that office. And when you ask me what's the best part about it, is that, Kenneth, is the people, man. It is definitely the people. We surround ourselves with the best. We just added many new AEs, as you know, one of them you work with, Tiffany, as well, and many others that are here now that we're really excited about. So that's what I enjoy the best, is the people.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And I think it's so important. I always like to know the investors and the lenders as a broker. I like to know the people that I'm working with, because
Important.
if we do have a snag or something, I like to get to know the underwriters. I like to get to know, to your point, Tiffany Bradley. I've known her for 20 years. She's a great account executive. She represents, Con Lending. That's awesome. I know I can go to her and I can trust her and I can communicate with her to get things done. And it's a relationship business. And I think that that's so
It is.
important. Now, for brokers who don't know Con Lending, from their benefits,
Mhm.
right? From their, what's in
Yeah.
it for me, channel. What makes Con Lending different,
Yeah.
maybe compared to some other lenders? Like, what do you think your guys' superpower
Yeah. I
is when
mean,
it comes to helping brokers close more loans?
yeah, I think that's a great question. I'm going to answer it with a couple of things, right? Like I spoke briefly about Tiffany. Our account executives here at Kind Lending have on average over 25 years of experience, right? So you look at like a Nicole Foster, a Jenny Gibbons, an Austin, a Scott Motter, I mean, Angie LaGrange, Alessandra Ford. I can name them on. They have been seasoned veterans, not only in the industry, but in their markets, Kenneth. And I think that's really important. So for brokers to understand that here at Kind, we have business to business people that are helping them grow and understand their market and understand how to navigate any type of market. Rates are high. Who cares? We'll sell. Rates are low. Who cares? Yeah, we're selling, right?
Yeah.
We're helping them grow and build. So I think it's really important to understand that piece, is that the seasoned team that we have here is really important. They can help you structure, and many times they become your best friends. They, you know each other well. You mentioned the relationships that you have in the past, and that's really important. But I think also for another broker, just speaking about the offerings itself. At Kind, I'm still surprised when I'm out in the field and talking to customers and like, Del, you guys offer non-QM? You sure do.
Yep.
We're going to probably put close to 200 million this month in non-QM, so we're doing a lot of non-QM. That's great too. But that it's not just in the non-QM space, right? Like if you're a new broker, we have blended FICO score options. We have the HELOC option for everyone. That's a great option as well too. So I think a lot of times broker might think of Kind Lending as, okay, I can only send them my Govy deals, right? No, it's like we can be your first thought on all your transactions, right? And I'll tell you something else, Kenneth. If we if we can't service it, if we can't do that type of loan, our teams are very good at telling you who can. So it's not just, okay, I can't do it, go on your way, loan officer, broker, whatever. It's like, hey, I can't do it, but you know who might be able to do it? X lender, right? Whatever lender it might be. Because we embrace the competition here at Kind, man. We really do. I say this a lot, Kenneth, and stronger. Together we're stronger, right? As an industry, and that's one thing I want our brokers to know too. Is that's our philosophy here as well too at Kind, is us uniting as a lender and being able to. If we can't do it, we'll tell you who can. But I can tell you the majority of the time we'll be able to service all their needs for all their borrowers, as well
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I think that I'm the exact same way. Like when I can't help a client,
Mhm.
find the work, man. I just sent one 2 days ago to one of my local banks. The
Yeah,
lady calls me back. She goes, Kenneth, thank you so much. They're going to help us, And of
yeah,
course I'll get the refinance later,
of
but
course.
still she was just so thankful. And I think that's a great leadership trait that you guys have.
Yeah.
And I love that ideology of really breaking or embracing,
Yeah.
competition in the broker world,
Yeah.
because that's part of, where own worst enemy in some regard, and there's, when all the different lenders and investors come together and we're one front under that broker umbrella, we're
Yeah.
better together than we are separately.
100%.
And we know the reality, the reality is retail is substantially more expensive for the consumer than dealing with a broker. That's important. It's not price alone. Like, I'm not a price lender. I can sell pretty much any rate, but it's nice to have the confidence of knowing I've got options and I've got great pricing. You know what I'm saying? All at the same time. And I move faster and I can do all these things. And a lot of retail lending they don't get that.
Mhm.
They're sold against it. I remember, I was a broker for the first 10 years of my career. Then I went retail for 9 years. You know why? Because retail scared you into retail, and they used the CFPB and the changes in the market at the time to make you, want to jump ship. And man, I thought I was one of the last Mohicans in the broker channel. And then, and I came back a few years ago, man, it's the best thing I ever done. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I think that all of that's important. I want to go into some more, I want to ask you a couple more questions in regards
Yeah.
to what do you think, like what are the loan, I know let's get into more details of this question.
Yeah.
What are you guys really good at? Now, you guys, obviously you're doing what everyone else does. It's the basic FHA, VA, conventional USDA type of loans. And that's good business. And that's the majority of our business.
Yeah.
What do you think that you guys are like really good? Like, what's the thing that you're known for the most, or that you provide the broker community? Like what brokers are saying about you? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think, funny you say that, because I was just looking at, we have something called kind kudos, right? Where brokers send us a kudo about, doing the closing the loan at time. When it comes to, I mentioned the government space here, I would say like 90% of our underwriters are FHA and VA approved, right? So they have their lab, they have all the licensing they need to underwrite files. Very, very, very good, right? Finding ways to make a deal work, right? In the government space. I'll share a story with you that Glenn shares all the time. Then this is our philosophy here at Kind. Catherine Lay was our president back at Stearns, and she also used to be Glenn's underwriter, right? And this is a philosophy that I want our brokers to understand, is that, when Glenn was an originator, because remember, Glenn is a broker. Glenn was a broker for a very long time, very successful broker as well. And he would go to his underwriter and he would take the file, which was Catherine, and she would say, Glenn, can you make this file work for us? Right. And she would never say no. She would never say no, Kenneth. She would say, Glenn, you can do this deal, excuse me. We have to put 85% down, but you got a deal. Right. And so I think the story there, right? The philosophy is that I want our brokers to know that we try to make these deals work for them, right? For all their borrowers. Specifically, you asked about what offerings do we have here as well too. Obviously the VA Earls, you're a veteran. Thank you so much for your service. Kenneth, that's a big part. I live in San Diego and we have a lot of veterans here. We have a soft pull option for VA Earl. That's a great offering that we have specifically for that type of product. We are involved in a lot of different events throughout the year, helping veterans as well too. So we're excited about that. But also in the non-QM space, which we've expanded to the DSCR. We're currently running a special that we're going to carry into the month of July. We're offering a 0.5 point special on DSCR loans and 1/4 for refis, 0.5 point on a purchase. So that investor deal is really great, important business purpose deal is important. So that's something that we're offering to our customers as well too. But I want to talk about real quick our technology, because you and I were talking about that too, like our quickie portal. Right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Before we get to that, is it okay if I want to share a plug for you guys? Because
for sure.
I called you. We'd submitted it was a VA loan. I think it was just Streamline, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah.
And we made the mistake of locking it as a brokered loan, and it was we were trying to close it I'm a correspondent broker, and it was a couple of days later, pricing had kind of moved drastically one way or the other. And I said, hey man, is there any way you can fix this for me? Because the process is where you got to start over, which is everyone's process. That's the process. Right. And I was like, oh man, if I have to start over, I don't have a loan, right? Because pricing had moved that much in like a day and a half or 2 days. Yeah. And you fixed it. And so when you say, hey, we take care of our people, I called you on that. and you took care of it. And it didn't, and I didn't, it was quick, and it was like, I didn't have to argue about it. It was just like, yeah, we got you. Right. I just remember that. And I remember sitting there saying, man, that's what's up,
Yeah.
So anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
So,
appreciate that. No,
yeah.
I appreciate that. I always want to help our borrowers and our brokers, right? Like that was a vet on the other side of that transaction. And if you think about relationships, kid, if you think about that, they're all cool. We're high-fiving each other, bro-hugging each other when things are great. But a relationship is measured when things are not as smooth, and what happens.
Yeah.
That's something really important. And so lenders, I want to say that we want to be perfect. As we were talking earlier, that we're growing tremendously here at Kind. We put in over $1 billion in the month of May. We're going to do it again in June because of our broker partners, because of they're trusting us with their business. They see what we're doing. They like our message. They know what we're offering them, but also because of our great team, both the sales and ops piece, that connection. And so we really do build that. And in one piece you said, obviously the Quickie Portal, but one thing I want to mention too about an offering that we have. So at Kind, we felt that sometimes things happen after hours where people need help. Okay. So you have a closing that needs to get docs at a certain tomorrow morning for sure. And we have something here called Kind After Dark. Okay. It's called Kind After Dark. So we have a team that works later hours after 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock that is available to our AEs for escalation. And that has saved a lot of deals. So our brokers know that, hey, if it's after hours, there's a team that on an emergency basis, we really need your help. So we need to close this deal. We have a team that's ready and available to do that as well too. So that's unique, I think, in this space where we are really giving people accessibility. So when brokers know that, hey, after hours, we're here to support them and matching that urgency that they have for their agents, for their borrowers, is what we focus on too. So that's one thing I want to get the brokers and loan officers listening to an idea of what we are, our DNA, if you want to say, is part of that as well too.
Okay. And you said that was after dark, right?
It's called Kind After Dark. Everything here is a little educated. We got the Quickie Portal, we got the Quickie Portal, quick start and a happy ending for you,
Yeah.
There's a lot of marketing that we've done at the Vibe event. There was, some marketing that we did
Yeah, I
with
love
the
it.
lift, the cigarette, the whole thing. We make it fun, right? And
Yeah,
this
for sure.
industry is tough enough. Let's make it as fun as we can,
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And I love you guys' commercials and
Yeah.
the support you give AIM. And
Yeah.
it doesn't go unnoticed, and it's a partnership, and it's us
Yes.
just, we're talking about kind of lending and
Mhm.
all the benefits that you guys have and how you're wanting to help loan officers win. I want you to help me win, right?
Yeah.
Everyone does. And so
Yes.
you just gotta, you gotta start by sending in that first deal. I'm sitting here, I put this chapstick on while we
Kind lips. There you go.
it's kind. Yeah. So I'm sitting there like, oh man, I'm on with Kind Lending.
You're all in. I love it.
I'm
I
all in,
love
man.
it.
I'm over here branding for you guys. But
There you go. I love it. I
well, let
love
me
it.
ask you this. So
Yeah.
if you're doing that much volume, right?
Yeah.
And there are brokers out there,
Mm-hmm.
and you know who the top brokers are, you know who your customers are.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see the top producers, the top brokers doing right now that others should be paying attention to?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to share with you my thoughts on this because I get to speak to a lot of high energy, very productive, both loan officers and owners, right? All of them, right? Like you, like a lot of great people in the industry. I've developed relationships, with them friendships, and the number one thing. Okay, this is I feel is important. The number one thing that I have found is that they are extremely disciplined. All right. And so it like motivation can it's hard to be motivated every single day, right? Like it's hard to wake up and say, dang, I really want to call 10 borrowers or 10 agents or, call 10 brokers. It's hard, right? Like it is hard to be motivated. It's easier if you're disciplined. The most successful people are the people that are disciplined, right? Like you have your routine, right? Like, damn it, I do not want to call this person because they're hard to work with or like they're intimidating or whatever. But if they know that they have to make 10 calls per se, or if they know that they have to make 10 stops as an account executive, It is that, because you're never going to be motivated every single day, but you can be disciplined every single day. And I think that's one of the things that I've seen with highly successful people is that they stick to their routine. Now, nothing's perfect, right? You might get sick, you might get a cold or whatever, or like you might just, whatever the case may be, there's exceptions, right? But the most successful people are the people that are disciplined, number one. Okay. Number two are the people that check the ego at the door. Okay. That is a big one too, right? Meaning they're always wanting to learn. They feel that they don't know enough all the time. They feel that they constantly want to be surrounded by people that help them become better, right? Like there's a saying, right? You want to be around balcony people, or you want to be around basement people, right? And who you surround yourself and who you are around to influence your sphere's influence really is a big deal too. So I see them surrounded by
Yeah,
great people that think like them too, right? And the third thing that I think is really important with successful people is the thought process that pressure is a privilege. Okay.
I like that.
And
Yeah.
in pressure is a privilege where I say, I want that at bat. I want to be in front of these people to shine because, sometimes, people might think I don't want to present or I don't want to be in that situation because I'm worried about the outcome, right? But if you shift your mindset and you're like, hey, I like the pressure. I want to show this broker that I can close their deal in 7 days to earn their next loan. And guess what? That broker's going to tell somebody else, right? And so that's one thing I really am pushing, not only with our sales team, but it's our thought process from Glenn, from Mindy and Yvonne, also with our team here internally, right? Like that urgency, that mindset that, pressure's a privilege, discipline, always wanting to learn. I have seen that honestly with all the high producers. I've seen it with all the mortgage broker owners that are out in the field recruiting, doing a great job recruiting people, being that voice for AIM, being engaged. That is what I've seen. Those three things is what I've seen with very successful people.
Yeah, I love it, man. You get me
Yeah.
fired up, son. Yes, I love it. It really,
Yeah.
discipline.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate it. It's just doing
No.
what you say you're
Oh,
going to do. It's being
it is.
committed to the process, and people
Yeah.
ask me, well, you know, sometimes I've been told they'll like, well, KT, your expectations are too high. So no, my commitment is that strong.
That's
And
right.
I've had people say, hey, what's commitment mean to you, KT? I'm like, man, commitment to me is moving a mountain with a shovel. That's commitment.
Into that, man.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
and it kind of brings me to this challenge that I've been doing is this beating the world record. I'm beating 4 world records doing the planking.
Love it.
And some people have been asking me, Dale, they're like, hey man, what have you learned from that? I said, well, I've learned that I've been reminded. I don't know that I've learned anything yet, but I've definitely been reminded that in order to get the prize, you
Yeah.
have to put in the work. You have to put in the reps. You have to just every single day. And there's nothing sexy or fun about planking for 2 or 3 hours at a time, right?
Yeah.
Without stopping. And that takes discipline because there's days I don't feel like going to the gym. There's days I don't feel like planking.
Right.
I hurt. It's painful. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But when you break that record, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
So it's like when you close those deals, it's all worth it. When you can learn to be disciplined and stay focused on the money-making activities as an originator, it
Right.
opens up the entire world. But then it's not just that. You've got to have good lender partners like Kind Lending. You've got to have people that you can go to and trust and plug into. They're going to help you look good, right?
Mhm.
And also treat them right. We talked about relationships earlier. It's full
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah.
I always am amazed. People have heard me say this 1,000 times, Dale. Loan officers, brokers will sometimes treat lending partners poorly. And I always tell loan officers, I'm like, hey man, you work with realtors, right? Yeah. Don't you hate it when they treat you bad and they're mean to
Yeah.
you and they're disrespectful? Oh yeah, I hate that. I'm like, then
Right.
why do you do it to
Right.
lender partners? Loan officers do that sometimes. They treat lenders like realtors treat loan officers. And I just think that there's a better way of communicating your frustrations or your challenges or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that in itself, I'm going to mess something up one time and I want to be able to give my lender partners grace that, hey,
Yeah.
I know y'all dropped the ball on that. It's okay. Cause I'm going to need a favor one day, and so you give them grace,
Yeah.
don't judge them off of one deal, but, I
That's an
cer
important piece. That's an
yeah,
important piece. I feel that, I wish, Ken, I wish that every loan went perfect. I wish that every single condition got through out the first time. I wish, right? But like the reality is that they don't, right? And I mentioned this earlier. What do we do when it falls off? But like, I think that's why, kind lending, our name is something that we try to, you don't got to be me, right? Like we know we probably messed up. The agent knows they messed up. Everybody knows, right? We're all professional in it, but like, I think that there's a right way to treat people. I think also, in this world where, people can type and say whatever they want, right? A little bit, and so
yeah,
we should be nice to each other. There's always some way of kindness around that. But I do want to say that, right? Because at Kind, like I told you earlier, we're going to fund over $1 billion. Like if you think about that, like last year,
it's
perhaps
insane.
in
Yeah,
2024, we funded, a little under four, right? 400 million. So we're having a lot of growth, and with growth comes opportunities for improvement, and so we've learned, lessons along the way to make sure we streamline our processes, which have
yep,
been great. Our AEs give us feedback. But the differences with this group of people, this talented group of people here at Kind, is that a large group of us have done this before at a previous company with Stearns, right? So this type of volume, this type of feedback, this type of need for improvement every single day is not new to us. So it's just something that we focus on all the time, and we're going to continue to grow this channel by treating our brokers, their loan officers, the processors, their partners, their referral partners, and their borrowers the right way. And so I agree with you on the kindness piece. I think that, what's the saying? You get more sugar. You get more honey with sugar, or whatever the saying is. What's
then
that
yeah,
saying?
then vinegar. Yeah, I think it's you
The
get more.
vinegar. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you trap more flies with honey than vinegar,
There you go.
or
There
something.
you
Yeah,
go.
I'm not 100% sure, but it's a true statement.
Yeah.
And you know what? I tell my team this all the time, Dale.
Yeah.
Just because you're right about something doesn't mean you should say it. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? Like you just shouldn't say it. Like, yeah, I know you're right, but don't say that because it's not going
Yeah.
to help us, moving forward. So,
That's
uh,
a good one. That's a good one,
yeah,
man.
and we live by that, and they always repeat it, and they kind of mock me a little bit in fun, and we
Yeah.
have a good time with it. But all right, so moving on, just
Yeah.
a couple more questions, and we'll wrap
Yeah.
up. What?
Yeah.
Um, Let me ask this. This will be fun.
Okay.
Tell us something that we don't know about you.
Tell me something you don't know about me.
Yeah.
Uh, I have grown up in this mortgage business, right? Like I've learned a lot. Um, and I think that, and I often talk to people, they're like, Del, you're very busy. I have a very busy, some people know about this, but maybe many don't. We have 4 kids, my wife and I, right?
Wow. Congrats.
And yeah, I get to do this because of her, right? My wife, Tanya, she's truly a saint, man, like helping me travel the country, build this up. She's been great in helping with this. And we have a baseball family. So we have 3 girls that dance. One going to college. We're heavily in baseball. So maybe a sports thing I can share with you that, we're heavily in dance and in baseball. Not a lot of people know that, I guess, about us. On Saturdays and Sundays, I mentioned earlier, I go to the office, right? Because a lot of times we're playing in Huntington Beach. So I drag my son into the office. He does stuff with us in the office too. But I'm here, Kenneth, because, you know, I have been really blessed with people in my life that have mentored me. Okay. And I think that's such a big part to recognize that, some people, yes, I was an account executive for a many long time, and, I've had a very successful career, very blessed on that, but it's only because people took time to invest in me, you
Yeah.
know, and that gratitude is something that I'll never forget. Right. Like I talk about, Melissa Armstrong a lot, right? She was a great mentor of mine that helped me learn the business back at Wells Fargo and Stearns. Yvonne, our president now, her and I talk on a daily basis. She's been a big mentor of mine here at Kind Lending. And I think that that's something that, doesn't get spoken enough, right? Like in this industry is thanking the people that help you get to where you're at. right?
That's it. Yeah.
And that gratitude piece is a big part of who I am. And I used to think, Kenneth, if I can be perfectly honest with you, that was like a weakness, right? Like, oh, don't share that stuff, right? Don't,
Biggest
like,
strength. Yeah.
yeah, it's your strength, right? But like it is important for people to understand that, that it takes a lot to help people throughout their life, and in this industry, I've said this a lot, really blessed to have great people that they know me, I know them, we root each other on, we're competing against each other on the field. We're trying to tackle each other, stop each other, all that, but off the field, let's have a beer, right? Let's have all that, right? And I think that's a big part of it, but part of that is a mentorship piece too. And so I urge people, right? That's something people might not know, that like I take value in that a lot when it comes to me, because it's a two-way street. Somebody investing their time in you, but also you doing the work you need to do, the chop the wood that you need to do to continue to grow your career, and both personally and professionally. And so I want people, if they hear anything about that, is find a good mentor. No matter how you have 35 years in the industry, great, good for you, right? How do you pay that forward? How do we get
That's right.
the younger generation? How do we make more brokers and loan officers? How do we do that, Kenneth? How do we do that, right? Nobody comes out of college and says, "Hey, guess what? I want to work at a broker's office. I want to." Some people do, right? But I would
Very
guarantee
rare.
very
Very rare.
rare, right? They
Yeah.
either have an aunt, they have a tia, they have an uncle, they have my mom, my bro, whatever,
Right.
right? But hopefully we can invest in the next set of originators, right?
Yeah.
Originators
Exactly.
and people to help us out. It takes mentorship. So I know it kind of went around the road to
No,
tell
that's
you
good.
about
No, I
that,
love
but
it, man. Yeah, I
but
love your heart.
yeah, but I think it's important, man, for people to understand that that's a big part that we should pay it forward in this industry as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I love it.
Yeah,
I want to have you back on, Delfino, several more
yeah,
times. Several. I want to talk about this whole. What were you talking? Correspondent lending. I think
yes, no doubt.
corresponding lending would
Yeah,
be a fun conversation for us to have. Maybe do a series on it, even.
yeah, for
And
sure.
in what I often hear from brokers is like they kind of look at non-del as like, a bad thing, and it's not. I think it's just
Time.
it's not. Like I wouldn't be a broker any other way, and they think that
Yeah,
there's all this added risk, and when you have all the details to make an informed decision, I think a lot
yeah,
more brokers would do that. And so I definitely want to have you on as a special guest, since I know you specialize in that area
mhm,
and can really help us educate the broker community on what that means. So with that
yeah,
said, I want to say I appreciate you being with us today. It's, pretty awesome to be able to get inside of Con Lending and
yeah,
just see what you guys are all about and hear, your perspective and your leadership and, what you guys want to do for the, to support the broker community. If you're listening to this, if you're a broker and you want to learn more about Con Lending, you can visit them. You can connect with them actually
yeah, yeah,
at aimgroup.com/lender. That's aimgroup.com/lender to connect with them and start doing business with them. And listen, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, leave a review, and share it with another loan officer who wants to level up. Delfino, appreciate you, my man.
Thank
Have
you.
a terrific
Yeah,
day, and we'll see you again soon for
I
sure. Okay.
appreciate you. Yeah, no, appreciate you very much. Thank you to you and the entire group over there, AIM. And you as being one of our partners. We appreciate you. What you're doing in the industry is great. Thank you for being that voice. You guys are doing a fabulous job. It's been an honor to be here with you today. And I'm looking forward to the next one, because you're right. Non-doubting being a seller is an advantage, and we would like to talk about that. So thanks again for
Heck
having me.
yeah. Appreciate it, man. Thank
All right,
you.
man. Take care.